but that you thought of that were terrific.
Yeah.
So
one of the things that fascinates me too is that when you hopped aboard that little single-engine plane and went from place to place, sort of with a sleeping bag and exploring, what was that about?
Well, it was about really learning about the Earth. I mean, the Earth is like a rhinoceros hide or something. It's just folded, and it's so crusty, and it's really beautiful. And of course, the West, you find it jammed together the most. Of course, it happened in the Appalachians, and that's why all those ridges were made. But you really feel that out west, where you see the history of geology just bare and there for you. It's not overgrown with planting. So it was sort of exciting to feel the Earth. And then this idea of thinking how to deal with the Earth, to kind of getting up into the sky. That's why I took this mastaba form or volcanic form.
Did you have a pilot, or you did it yourself?
I'm a pilot. So
yes, you are a pilot, so yeah.
And so that was really exciting to do also. And I took 7 months doing it.
Yeah.
And
looking for what?
I wasn't sure.
Oh.
If I had known, it would have been easier to find.
but as it formally said, when you saw it, you knew that was what you were looking for.
Yes, that's true.
And so what did you see?
People even think that of art. They don't know what I like, but I don't know what what art is, but I know what I like.
Exactly right. Or I can't define it, but I'll know it when I see it.
Yes, but that does happen to all of us, and so that's wondrous when you can get into that kind of zone.
And you've been developing a network of tunnels and
I had essentially the pyramid. I just had to put in the tunnels and the chambers.
Yeah.
I looked at it that way, and that's how I described it to Patrick Lana, and he has laughed at that after having supported it. And it's a bit true, but I think that it, you can see this in Herodium, which is near Hebron. You can see it in Silbury Hill, and particularly some of the hill forts in England, like Old Sarum. In fact, Old Sarum is very much like Roden Crater, because it has the two sort of kind of crater within a crater.
And you've been working on it since 1974.
That's when I found it.
Yeah.
I've been working on it since '79, when I finally obtained it. It took me 3 years to buy it. I took 2 years and then was able to get so in '76 I had the plans first shown at the Stedelijk Museum in Amsterdam. So that's when I first had the plans out. So it has, of course, transmogrified since then, which is a good lesson that, if you don't support artists when they have the idea, their ideas get more expensive and complex.
Yeah. You say sometimes you get discouraged. What do you get discouraged by? The mammothnesss of the
No, just my ability to sort of garner support. I find that...
To get support?
Yes.
For your work.
Support to work.
Even now?
Oh...
not so now.
There's very few artists that are going to feel sorry for me. so I don't know about that. But yes, personally, I can get discouraged. Just like, you might have a friend that still has not finished their thesis.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit that way, but it's coming along. And I finished some larger projects, like an actual pyramid in Yucatan that's now complete, and it's near, you approach through Mérida, or very close to a town called Tishkakaaltiyup.
Yeah. Now, do you let a lot of people visit these places?
Oh, that's actually not my business there. That was made for a couple.
But, how about the road then?
I let some people visit that are
very few.
But those part of supporting it.
Really?
It's a bit like not wanting to show this painting that you haven't quite finished, because...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So until you finish it, then you can...
But that's coming along. It's doing much better
is there
than
a date
it has.
certain?
Well, I've always said that, I was going to be done by 2000, and I'm sticking to it.
All right, let's show some things here. We've got some pictures here I want to show. Let's look at the first slide, okay?
That's actually... Ronan, that's one of the 1969 pieces.
Yeah.
And this is actually part of the collection of the Guggenheim. This is Atenrhain.
Right, okay, there you go. And just describe this, can you, for me?
This is
already fascinating.
85 feet high, it goes up, and I'm lighting all the levels that Frank made.
Yeah.
And on the right you see where that level comes in. where it starts.
Yeah.
And so these are the levels that are actually there.
And the next thing we'll see is Afram, 1967. I think I'm a little bit.
Well, Afram is a piece that's also owned, was purchased from the Ponza. That's from the Ponza collection.
Yeah.
And this is the early works that where I just had light on the wall. And
this coming up next is a Prado.
Okay, Prado is also a
1967.
projection.
Yeah.
These are ones here. It attaches more to the floor, and it seems in terms of its how it looks, it seems to be from the floor, and it puts the wall in the background. So here was something, just a shape on the wall makes this plastic quality where you realize that actually I'm making the picture plane be the wall, like Plato's cave, and then I'm putting things on this surface, and it becomes very malleable. And I had pieces that come into the wall, into the room, like Afram, the one before, things that seem to be where the wall was, and the wall seems to be recede. Others that seem to hole through and look as though there's an opening through the wall. So this right from the start, I was beginning to get onto the craft. I mean, how do you form it? It doesn't form like clay, where you form it with the hand. It doesn't form like hot wax, or you don't carve it away like wood or with stone. So getting to work with it is almost like making the instrument that helps you form it. So it's almost more like sound, like music.
This is way off the beaten track, but let me just ask it anyway. So architects who create museums, light is central to what they want to do. Do people like that call on you and say, tell me, James, what do I need to know here?
No, but there are sometimes I've been called upon to help fix the Roscoe Chapel, where the light has damaged the paintings, and also where when you look up there's this big dark presence over your head. So that's something that I'm employed.
What don't you know about light?
Oh, I'd always be surprised. I mean, I was surprised that we were able to stop it. That actually we found a medium where we could actually slow down light to the point it didn't move through it. That's very recently.
Oh, yeah.
That happened.
And how did that happen?
Through, I guess, a lot of experimentation.
Exactly, trial and error.
Yes. So seeing that is quite amazing to me. Also, I'm very interested in experiments where we now are suspecting that light knows when we're looking.
Light knows when we're looking.
That absolutely.
It changes when we look?
Yes, it has different behavior when we're looking.
How do we figure that out?
Well, I don't know all about the experimental process in deciding that, but basically it has different behavior through a diffraction grating when we're looking than when we're not. That's quite interesting. That almost imbues it with consciousness.
Which is what everybody wants to understand.
I think everybody even feels that way. I mean, first of all, here's this substance that we drink as vitamin D through the skin. Yeah. So it's actually a food. Yeah. We actually are light eaters. Then, of course, it has very strong emotional effect, and even in film, where we're not really looking at light, but we're looking at the narrative or story that carried through the film, or by light. But it has very powerful connotations there as well. And then, of course, every time we talk about light, near-death experience is always described with the vocabulary of light.
Yes.
Samadhi, or enlightenment. All these things have to do with, the light-filled void, this quality of where we are achieving something on the light not beheld with the eyes open. Because with the eyes closed, there's full vision. If you think of the lucid dream, here's full vision without eyes. And so is this memory? Well, no, because often we're dreaming things that aren't even pieced together from memory. Sometimes they are from memory, but often no memory at all. So where does this light in the dream come from? And how do we have this full vision that we access, 7 to 8 hours a night with the eyes closed? And what is the light? Where does light come from in the dream? Those are very interesting thoughts and ideas. And so I wanted to actually deal with a light that seemed to be a light that we knew but don't often see with the eyes open, because we often see light this way, but not that often with the eyes open. So I would like to have this sort of recognition of a light that is sort of known to us, but we haven't. Is surprised to find it. It's like when you go and you see someone you've known in a certain context. Now they're in a new context that you see them and you can't remember their name and what they're doing here.
Yes.
That kind of thing is a little bit like I would like to achieve in my work, that you know this light, but it's not familiar with the eyes open.
It's an extraordinary story. Where do you go from here?
Well,
you're 70, you just celebrated your 70th birthday.
Well, I would now like to have this way of working. I would have liked to have had this maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So
what do you mean by way of working?
That I have these many opportunities and all of that, and because you have to sort of be asked. It's not as though you're just awarded these things by asking for them, because people want to do them or don't. So this has really come more of late. I would have liked to have been at this stage earlier, when I had more energy, but I'm now trying to...
Maybe less wisdom.
Certainly less wisdom. That in all kinds of ways of life, that's for sure.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
It's very nice to meet you, and this is terrific. Thank you.
So let me just give everybody what they ought to know. The exhibition at the Guggenheim will run from June 21st to September 25th. It was organized in conjunction with the Los Angeles County Museum of Art and Museum of Fine Arts in Houston. Comprises one of the three, as I referenced earlier, major Turrell exhibitions spanning the U.S. during the summer of 2013, which is where we are now. As the curator of the Houston exhibition, Allison D. Lima Green, put it, this is the first time that three museums have mounted exhibitions of this magnitude in conjunction, all devoted to a single artist. James Turrell, thank you. Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. See you next time.